Welcome back to the channel, guys, and our series on buying a home in North Carolina. This is part 3. You've already got your pre-approval, you've got your local expert or at least trusted advisor. You're starting to look at homes and you found the one you like or love, and you're ready to put your money where your mouth is. In this video, we talk about making an offer. Now, in the end of this video, we're going to have 6 ways you can make your offer stand out or get ahead of your competition. So the first thing you should do is talk to this local advisor or a real estate agent. Hopefully you've already had some kind of conversation about what type of market we're in. Are we in a buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? What's it going to really take to get your offer accepted? Now, many times this is why it takes first-time buyers or buyers that are unfamiliar with the market or haven't been in a while a couple tries before they actually get an offer accepted. I understand when you're taking advice from somebody who gets paid off of you buying something, sometimes the trust takes a little bit of time to get there. And because of this, people don't really trust when you tell them, hey, you need to offer $5,000 over asking, or you need to offer $5,000 money down, or $10,000 or whatever. Sometimes they don't trust you, and they have to fail a couple times before they start to actually believe you, unfortunately. 2 of the biggest hang-ups I find with buyers is price, or how much over asking price you may have to give for a property, and due diligence money. Now, if you think I'm speaking an alien language when I say due diligence money, and you have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, then your state probably doesn't have it. Not all states do. Due diligence money is kind of a shocker for a lot of people coming from out of state that I deal with. They don't know what it is or understand it or think it's a scam, and I'm kind of on their side about it. I don't know that it isn't kind of a little bit of a scam, but it's not in my hands to change it. I just have to work within those boundaries. Many states have earnest money, but not all have earnest and due diligence. Now what we're seeing, depending on when you're watching this video, some people are taking any money they might have put into earnest money and it's all going in lump sum into due diligence because it means more. Due diligence is a check, preferably certified check, made out directly to the seller. Once your offer is accepted, they can cash that check day one, put it in their bank account, they can go to the Bahamas, they can do whatever they want with it. Wouldn't be the smartest thing, but they can do pretty much whatever they want with that money. It is their money. Even if you back out that same day, the next day, for any reason, for no reason, termites, bad appraisals, any reason at all, you back out, they keep your money. Now, a few years ago, when people put $500 or $1,500 down, losing that money wasn't quite as big of a sting as it is in today's market, where we're seeing people put 5, 10, 15. I've even heard of somebody in Raleigh putting $100,000 in due diligence money down. That means if they were to back out for any reason, they would lose all that money. Now, just like earnest money, assuming you're familiar with earnest money, it gets added in there with the purchase price. So it's not a on top of price. You don't add that in addition to the purchase price. You get a credit back for that due diligence or earnest money. This is oftentimes why people coming from out of state and aren't familiar with it, oftentimes it takes a couple offers before they actually start believing their real estate agent when they put $500 down, didn't get the house, but the person over here that put $10,000 down got the offer accepted. However, these first initial terms in the offer to purchase is just your first step in negotiations. You've also got to get through inspections and appraisals and things like that. And that could be a whole nother type of negotiation. In this offer to purchase is also where you would be listing, hey, I want the seller to pay for part of my closing cost, if it's possible in this market. I would like a home warranty. Home warranties cover you for roughly a year, and I tell people it's kind of like a secondary insurance. It covers a lot of things that insurance wouldn't cover, like a washing machine and dryer, for instance, sometimes. Home warranties are especially helpful for first-time home buyers where unexpected expenses come up and can be a really hit to their bank account sometimes. And they don't really cost all that much when you're looking at the overall price of a house. A home warranty might be $700 to $1,000. Oftentimes you get this covered by the seller, and it's not a big chunk out of when they're making a $100,000 to $200,000 house. Also on the North Carolina offer to purchase, don't know if all states have it or not, you have to put on here, is this offer contingent on you selling your property? On some of the websites, I'm sure you've probably seen it, contingent. It means the property is sold contingent on the buyer selling their property. A lot of times this makes it much harder to get your offer accepted if this is the way you're making an offer, because I compare it to dominoes. The less dominoes you have in a stack, the less likelihood there is for something to go awry. If you've got that guy that's got to sell and somebody's got to buy his house and he's got to buy your house and then wherever you're going off to as a seller, it just puts more chances of things that can go wrong. So if you can sell and stay somewhere temporarily, even if it's an apartment or an Airbnb or something, this puts you way over your competition that might have to sell a house in order to buy a house. You've got cash in your hand, and your offer is not contingent on you having to sell a property now. At the very minimum, I recommend people to at least have their home ready to list. I want to have a sign ready to stick in the yard when we go to make an offer, or even more preferable is to at least have your property listed or under contract when you make an offer. That way, it puts a little bit more peace of mind into the seller that you're making an offer on, that, hey, this home has actually already got a buyer lined up. We're ready to roll. Now, I've already touched on a couple of these key points, but here we're going to talk about 6 ways that you can make your offer stronger or stand out from your competition. Now, I want you to take a quick second and comment down below what it is. Maybe you just bought a house. What tactic did you use to make your offer stand out? Or what tactic have you heard of that's just kind of off the wall or crazy? Leave a comment down below what your best tip is. So number 1 is to waive an inspection. Repairs are a big fear for a lot of sellers. Everybody says they want to sell as is, but what they're really fearful of is the unknown, things that are wrong with their home that they didn't even know about. I have found this several times. So if you have the confidence or the ability to fix things, or maybe even just an uncle that can fix things, waiving an inspection can put the fears of a seller at ease a lot of times when you go to make an offer, because they're not worried that you're going to start asking for things to be repaired down the road. Number 2 is use an appraisal waiver. Now, I've seen this done kind of 3 different ways. I've seen people that they put enough money down, and depending on the lender, they don't even have to have an appraisal. And this really makes a strong offer, because if you're at the top of the market or making an offer at the top of the market, this is a big fear that will it appraise. The second way I've seen that appraisal waiver used is that you make an offer, obviously at the top or the peak, and that people will say, hey, I will pay up to $5,000 over what it appraised for. Not necessarily what it offered, but if it doesn't appraise for that, I will offer $5,000 over appraisal value. And the third way I've seen the appraisal waiver used is just leave it open. Now, obviously, a lot of people can't do this, but in some markets where you've seen $30,000, $50,000 over asking price, this is a big benefit. Now, you obviously have to have the extra capital in your bank account to be able to cover it if it doesn't appraise. And I know everyone can't do that. It's nice if you can, but I've seen people where they just leave it open and say, I will pay this price no matter what it appraises for. All right, the third tip to make your offer stand out is to be flexible. This is time flexible. Not everyone wants to close as soon as possible. Maybe the seller hasn't even found their house yet. Maybe they need to pack a lot of stuff. Maybe they just have a lot of people to move and it's going to take them a while. This is important to discuss. Your, agent should reach out to the listing agent and try to dig a little bit and ask, hey, what's important to your seller? Is it a big amount of money? Is it a quick closing? Is it flexibility? Sometimes they want a 60-day close. Sometimes you can close in 30 days, put some money in their pocket, and allow the sellers to stay for an extra month or 2. Or even do a rent back where they pay your mortgage for a couple months. But having the flexibility there is very important to a lot of people. Our fourth tip is to make it short and sweet. The more things you try to put in there, closing costs and home warranties and addendums and all this other stuff, it just makes it that much more complicated, because the listing agent has to explain it to the seller on the other side. and not all listing agents can explain crap. So the easier you can make it for anybody to understand, the better. Our fifth tip is to offer a substantial due diligence amount down. I know it's risky and it's gambling, because if you back out for any reason, you find an issue, you lose that money. But when you have other people that are offering 10, 15, 20, 50, whatever, $1,000 in due diligence, you don't stand a chance doing $500 in due diligence. You're wasting your time and everybody's time by not doing what everyone else is doing. Now, you might get lucky. Who knows? You might get, if you're the first person to make an offer, they might accept it right away. But chances are, if they got any kind of advice on the other end, they're going to wait for a better offer. So ask your agent, what is an acceptable due diligence? What's the minimum I can kind of get away with? So our sixth tip, and probably our most important, is to try to make a connection with the sellers. Now, I know you don't have direct contact to the seller, but you kind of got to be a detective when you're walking through the property and you see things in the home, things they like, hobbies, interests, things like that. Sometimes that can kind of clue you in on the type of person you're looking at. Used to, buyers would write what we call love letters to sellers, basically telling them how great their house is and it's perfect for them and their family, and they just love the house. Well, now that's kind of getting frowned upon due to like fair housing, or the possibility of people taking advantage of the Fair Housing Act and swaying towards certain buyers for one reason or another. What that doesn't mean is if you walk in the garage, for instance, and there's a Harley sitting in the garage, and there's a Harley sign on the wall, and maybe there's a Harley jacket over here. Or you walk in the kitchen, and they have their own wine rack. They have all kinds of wines and wine glasses and whatnot. I've seen people offer gift cards and things like, and gas cards. You know, if it's a Harley guy, I've seen people offer gift card to the Harley Davidson dealership. If they're a wine connoisseur, I've seen them offer wines with their offer, or taste testing trips, or whatever it is. The key is to pick up on the likes and dislikes of the sellers and offer them some kind of incentive outside the normal offer. It'll help your offer stand out while also building a little bit of a connection or rapport between you, the buyer, and them, the seller. Do you need help making your first offer in North Carolina, or maybe just your next offer? I'd love to hear from you. Now, take a look at a couple of these videos right here, and I'll see you in the next one.